all things and act in accordance with the best and most ethical insight. Lord, thank you for all that you have blessed us with, and we humbly ask you for your continued love and blessings and keeping us safe. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is approval of City Council meeting minutes dated April 12th, 2018. Can I have a motion and a second to approve those minutes?
So move. Second.
Hear a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, Mrs. Frank?
Ms. Mealy?
Yes.
Mr. Novello?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
Mrs. Katz?
Yes.
Mr. Slaughter?
Yes.
Mr. Allison?
Yes.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes, and those minutes are approved. Next item on the agenda is limited courtesy of the floor. We've had no requests for that this evening, so I'm going to move on to the next item, which I'll come down to the lectern to present. It's my pleasure this evening to introduce to council and the mayor and others in attendance and watching at home two Odyssey of the Mind teams that are from the Williamsport Area School District. One from Williamsport Area Middle School, raise your hands. And the other from Curtin Intermediate School, raise your hands. Who I'm excited to say will be representing the city and the district at World Finals in May. At Iowa State University, where they'll be competing with teams from all over this country, and I believe it's 20 or 30 other countries worldwide. It's pretty exciting. This is the third year in a row, and I don't remember how many total times in which Williamsport's sent teams to World Finals. It's the second year in a row in which the district has sent more than one team at a time, and particularly I'm excited, given some of the meetings we've had this week, to demonstrate and show the city how the kind of amazing kids we have and the amazing school district we have, and one more way in which Williamsport is a fantastic place to live, work, and play and raise children. These guys are amazing. If you're not familiar with Odyssey of the Mind, it's the best I can describe it as a creative problem-solving competition where students spend the whole academic year preparing a long-term solution to a very nuanced and complex problem entirely on their own without outside help from parents or coaches, just a little guidance to keep them moving forward in that process. And then they go to a regional competition, a state competition if they move on, and now world finals for these two teams, and both present their long-term solution and then spontaneously react to a short-term problem that they have to solve in a creative kind of way. These are very talented kids if you haven't seen the kind of results that they can do. So I would like all of us to congratulate them with some applause. And I'd like for the coaches to come up and have a word if you'd like, but in particular present your team members.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Dr. Williamson, members of council. Along with Howard Tran over there and my wife Denise, it's our honor and privilege to coach the team from Curtin Middle School. These are kids who work very, very hard to get as far as they've gotten. I tried to calculate the number of hours early today that they put in this year, and I stopped at about 150. And these are good, busy kids. They're in sports, they're in music, they're taking honors classes. What they've been able to do and what they've been able to accomplish is absolutely amazing. And I'm proud to have been their coach. Mirren, will you come and introduce your team?
Hey, what's up? In the back, that's my team. We've been doing OM for like a really long time, and this is the second year we've gone to Worlds. Yeah, they're there. Oh, their names, yeah. Hi. That's Alana. Wait, last names? Sure. Alana Ramos, Liliana Sponhouse, Ross Mailer, Tyler Williamson, Reese Kirk, and Olivia couldn't be here today, but Olivia Chabatari.
And your name?
Oh, I'm Mirren Tran.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Beth Lewis, and I've had the absolute privilege of coaching the Williamsport area middle school team. I can't really say too much more than he said. These are hardworking kids who put in a lot of time, a lot of effort, and I think the thing that has impressed me the most with Odyssey is the friendships that have been built. It's amazing. So I will let Ben Mineta come up and introduce his team.
Hi, my name is Ben Mineta, and I am a member of the Williamsport Middle School Odyssey the Mind team, and this is Sydney Kelly, Lisa Lewis, Mia Clark, Jack Klingler, Kendall Kelly, and my mom, the other coach, Elizabeth Mineta. And Mairead Ferry is another member of our team, and she could not be present today, but she was also a member of our team. Thank you.
The district is a very supportive district. It helps it educates some amazing kids doing a lot of amazing things in music, in the arts, in academics, in sports, in Odyssey of the Mind. I know I'm very proud, and I've talked to many of you are also very proud of the kind of school district that we're fortunate to participate in. And this is just one more sign of all of that. I should also say, I'm also proud as a dad, Tyler there, say hi Tyler, who is headed back to World Finals with his team this year. So I get to be proud on a whole lot of levels. Finally, so the coaches don't have to say it, it takes a lot of money to get these teams to Iowa, and so there's some efforts in social media and in person and lots of different ways to help raise those funds in a very short period of time. So if you're interested in helping get the teams to Iowa, please reach out to the city clerk. I'll make sure that she has some information about the coaches and the teams to help support their efforts to get, well, halfway across the country and to compete with kids their age from all over the world. So I'm glad you guys were able to join us, and I hope you stay for, the next 2 or 3 hours while we meet. So congratulations. It's funny, they never stay when we invite them to.
Hey, wait.
Because they're really smart kids.
Yeah. We'll give them a minute to clear out.
They're going to be at First Friday. They're trying to raise money. So if everybody will be downtown on First Friday and to support them financially.
Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you for bringing that up. Chris, could you get the door for us? So the next item on the agenda is a reappointment to the Brandon Park Commission. We have William McConnell. Mr. Mayor.
Dr. Williamson, Mr. Vice President, Mayor Preziosi, members of City Council. First of all, I'd like to say thank you, Dr. Williamson, in regards to recognizing our wonderful children in our community. And we have a lot of wonderful children and families, and it's too bad that the media oftentimes concentrates on the negativity. But thank you for concentrating on a positive thing. Before you, I have the name of William McConnell to be reappointed to the Brandon Park Commission. Mr. McConnell has been active on that commission for many, many years. He's a wonderful asset. He's a brilliant gentleman, and we're honored that he's willing to continue his service. Thank you.
As we do, we have appointments or reappointments, speak with committees, and I believe he spoke with the Finance Committee.
Yes, he did speak with the Finance Committee. We actually had a longer discussion, I think, than we were anticipating, but it was a good one, a pleasant one. Mr. McConnell, among other things, was included in with his resume a bit of a treatise on tree frogs in Brandon Park, and he's been, in addition to serving on the Brandon Park Commission, he also lives on the park. Which gives him a kind of a, maybe not a unique ability, but a good perspective on what happens in the park, what facilities are being used, and what sorts of wildlife apparently we're hosting in Memorial area in Brandon Park. Anyway, the commission had a good talk, and he certainly, I believe, struck all of us, while we didn't make any sort of a formal recommendation, he struck all of us as being a qualified member who's put in good service. And
Thank you for that. I believe I forgot to ask for a motion and a second to approve the reappointment.
So moved.
Second.
Hearing motion and a second. Comments or questions? Hearing none. Mrs. Frank, please.
Ms. Mealy?
yes.
Mr. Noviello?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
Mrs. Katz?
Yes.
Mr. Slaughter?
Yes.
Mr. Allison?
Yes.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes, and the reappointment's approved. Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Frank.
you.
Next item on the agenda is ordinance amending Article 117 in final reading. Mrs. Frank, in short form, please.
An ordinance amending Article 117, General Fee Schedule.
Thank you. Could I have a motion and a second to
So
approve
moved.
the ordinance in final reading?
So moved.
Second.
Hearing motion and a second. Mr. Girardi, how are you?
Good, yourself?
Good.
Good, good. I really have nothing further to add. We did go through it the first time with the changes. If you have any questions of me, more than happy to answer them.
Thank you very much. Comments or questions? Hearing none. Mrs. Frank?
Ms. Mealy?
Yes.
Mr. Noviello?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
Mrs. Katz?
Yes.
Mr. Slaughter?
Yes.
Mr. Allison?
Yes.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes, and the ordinance is approved in final reading.
Thank you.
Next item on the, really? Next item on the agenda is certificates of appropriateness. We have for 777 West 3rd Street, the removing of some asphalt shingles and, my French is terrible, replacing them with moire, black architectural shingles. Anybody want to contradict my French pronunciation there? Moire? Ah.
To the best of my knowledge.
I'm terrible at French. Give me some Spanish. And also repairing some soffits, eaves, et cetera, and repointing chimney brick. Can I have a motion and a second to approve the certificate of appropriateness?
So moved.
Second.
Hearing motion and a second. Comments or questions? Hearing none. Mrs. Frank?
Ms. Mealy?
Yes.
Mr. Noviello?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
Mrs. Katz?
Yes.
Mr. Slaughter?
Yes.
Mr. Allison?
Yes.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes, and their certificate is approved. Next item on the agenda is accept for filing. We have the Public Works minutes of January 16th, 2018, Public Safety minutes of February 13th, 2018, Bureau of Codes report on property liens, on demolitions, and on doomed businesses. And thank you, by the way, for those reports. Can I have a motion and a second to accept these for filing?
So moved.
Second.
Here, a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? Hearing none. Mrs. Frank?
Ms. Mealy?
Yes.
Mr. Noviello?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
Mrs. Katz?
Yes.
Mr. Slaughter?
Yes.
Mr. Allison?
Yes.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes, and those are approved. Next item on the agenda already is announcements. We will be holding an executive session immediately following this meeting for the purposes of negotiation. The next regularly scheduled City Council meeting will be held on Thursday, May 10th at 7:30 in City Hall Council Chambers. Other upcoming meetings include Monday, April 30th at noon, Planning Commission, Tuesday, May 1st at 3:30 p.m. ERC meeting, Wednesday, May 2nd, at 4 p.m., the Charter Commission. Saturday, May 5th, at 2 p.m., the Government Study Commission, again held at Susquehanna Law Group. Monday, May 7th, at 10 a.m. is the Finance Committee, and that's a special meeting that's been advertised. At 3:15 p.m. is the Ad Hoc Residency Committee meeting. On Tuesday, May 8th, at 1 p.m. is Finance Committee, 2:30 p.m. is Public Works, and 3:30 p.m. is Public Safety. That brings us already to the end of our regularly scheduled meeting. Are there comments by members of council? Mayor, your administration.
Yes, just a couple brief comments, just to let City Council know that Mr. Girardi and I are working on an additional plan to put more pressure on absentee landlords. If you've noticed, we've made a lot of progress. When we started in 2008, we had 188 properties. We're down to about 17, but those 17 landlords have not been compliant. They have not been cooperative, so we're looking at additional measures to put their feet to the fire. So we're looking forward to speaking to actually the Housing Needs Committee, if we could, at their next meeting. We'd like to present our tentative plan. And also, Mr. Cooley and I are working on a plan to stream city council meetings on the internet. We're living in the 21st century. Not everybody has Comcast, so we're taking a look at that as well, and if we could discuss this tentative plan at the next finance meeting. Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you. Any other comments from the administration? Mr. Girardi?
Sorry, I hate talking to you in the back.
That's fine, thank you.
I just wanted to make a real quick comment in case City Council, which I'm assuming you have noticed, there's a lot of road work being done with the help of the city here, Gas Authority, Water Authority. We're getting a lot of roads redone. Dewey Avenue was just redone. High Street's going to be done by the state here in the near future. The reason why I'm bringing this up is that on Dewey Avenue, we do have problems with people parking illegally on the road. So we're trying to give everybody a warning. Come Tuesday, the police department will be out and about, and if you're illegally parked on that road, you will get ticketed. You can't park on the sidewalk. You can't bring your car completely off and set it on the curb, the grass, and the sidewalk. It's going to do a couple things. It's going to bring all the dirt and mud on those nice new roads we just did, and it's going to break the sides of them with the cars going in and out. Plus, you're going to have a lot of gravel being pulled out. So if we're going to make these roads nice and we want them to stay that way, then we're going to have to enforce the parking requirements. Same thing's going to occur on High Street. There's a lot of people who like to park on the sidewalks on High Street. That's illegal. It's not permitted to be done. So they will be getting tickets by the police department. So I'm trying to let everybody know that please park where you're supposed to park. Do not illegally park. And that's another reason why the sidewalks are in bad shape.
Thank you for bringing that to everybody's attention. I know that, you know, when we go in and rebuild curves and repave, it can make a big difference and also encourage investment in a neighborhood. We saw that years ago on Isabella and on Louisa, I believe it was. And so hopefully then that kind of situation discourages that. I mean, it really tears up yards in addition to the sidewalks and the edges of the roads when people do that. Ms. Mealy.
Mr. Girardi, it would probably be a wise idea for us to put that on the city's Facebook page and the police department's Facebook page as well. I think we're probably not getting anywhere near as many people through our city council stream as we might get if we just put it out there on Facebook and everybody could share it.
So we can have that done.
Yeah.
Sure. We're not trying to give out tickets, but we're trying to save the roads. We want all
Yeah,
this
but I
effort and
agree.
money to do it. I hate to see them ruined in 4 years, and then they're going to complain the roads are bad again, you know, so.
Right.
Yep,
No,
we'll
I
definitely
think it
make sure
makes
we get it out
perfect sense.
any possible way we can. We'll get that
Every
word out.
vehicle possible to inform the public, right, Mark? Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you.
Any other comments from the administration? Seeing none, comments from the general public? Seeing none of those, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much.
Aye.